So the Republicans will be coming out with a counteroffer, and we're expected to hear about this counteroffer tomorrow, Thursday. And so I want to talk a little bit about this, and I also want to do the amazing story of the day. So we'll talk about both of those things. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news stories that make you money. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that like button. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's backtrack here so we know exactly where we are when it comes to this negotiation. So the White House initially put out the first infrastructure bill, so the American Jobs Plan. They put out that bill, and they were estimating it being about $2.3 trillion. Now, they also have a second infrastructure bill called the American Families Plan. Now, that one, they haven't started negotiating with that one first, so they're negotiating with just the American Jobs Plan. So we have a $2.3 trillion offer from the White House. Now, the Republicans came back. Their counteroffer was $568 billion. And then after that, just last week, the White House said, okay, you know what? We'll come down off that $2.3 trillion. We'll come down to $1.7 trillion. And so the latest offer from the White House is $1.7 trillion. Now it looks like the Republicans on Thursday, they have their counter offer, and that will be in the neighborhood, and this is Axios reporting this, in the neighborhood of $1 trillion. So GOP's latest infrastructure counteroffer to cost roughly $1 trillion. Now, the reason why this is very important and the reason why this is good news is because we've seen Senator Coons, who's a Democrat, come out and say an $800 billion infrastructure bill is something that he would get behind. And so $800 billion, that's less than $1 trillion. So we're already in the neighborhood of a top line that some Democrats are comfortable with. And so that's good news. We also heard, and this has not been confirmed, but we heard that behind closed doors, when the White House was negotiating, when the president was negotiating with Republicans, he said that his red line is $1 trillion. So this could not be confirmed. And the press secretary, Ms. Psaki, was pressed on this question, and she didn't answer it. So which leads us to believe that it's probably true. He probably did say that. The president probably did say that. And so now we're looking at a situation where a $1 trillion infrastructure bill could be something that both sides can agree on. So let's step forward. So let's say that we have this infrastructure bill come out. We don't know exactly what would be in the infrastructure bill, but let's say it comes out. It's roads, bridges, highways, broadband, and it's $1 trillion. Now, the other thing that we have to look at, the most important thing that we have to look at is how is it going to be paid for? Because right now you have different ideas that are looking at how to pay for this. You have the Democrats, you have the White House saying, look, corporate tax rate, we want to increase that. You have Republicans saying, no, we're not going to touch the corporate tax rate. That is a red line. That's dead on arrival, but we would be open to user fees. So like paying more in tolls, gas tax increase, mileage tax, things like that. That's what they would be okay with. And so there's going to be this huge debate on how is this going to be paid for. So not only are we looking at a top line, so if we look at a top line of $1 trillion and they both agree on that, now we're going to look at how is it going to be paid for. Another thing that's important to note when it comes to this infrastructure bill, we're looking at, let's say if we're looking at a $1 trillion infrastructure bill, this is over 8 years. We're not talking about just 1 year. And I think what we're hearing now from some Republicans in leadership, they're trying to put everything together. The last I heard it was a $7 trillion bill. And so they're trying to tie all these bills together. They're probably including the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, the last one, put it all together and just make it sound like this is just way, way too much money. Now, trillions of dollars, that's a lot of money. But if you spread it over time, over years, well, then it makes a little more sense, right? And then if you have pay for it, so if you have something that's going to pay for it, like increasing the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%, then it makes sense because it's going to be paid for. It's not something that's just going to be added to the debt. And so it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. But at this point right now, it looks like it's probably going to be around $1 trillion. Now, that's the first infrastructure bill. Now, remember, I said there's another infrastructure bill that they're going to be talking about, the American Families Plan. This is going to be more the human infrastructure. So this is going to have some different programs in there to help every American. And as far as stimulus checks, we don't know if that's going to be added to this. It's going to be up to Congress. The White House is not, they're not adding anything to this American Families Plan. They've already put out the plan. They're not adding anything else. So if Congress wants to add stimulus checks, they can add stimulus checks. And if Congress wants to add other things to this bill, they can do that. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to follow that and see where it goes. But right now, it looks like this first infrastructure bill will probably be in the neighborhood of $1 trillion. Even if the GOP, if the Republicans come up to $1 trillion, and then Democrats say, okay, what about 1.3 or 1.2 trillion? I'm pretty sure that the offer will go ahead and go through. They'll at least get some support for it. Now, if they don't, if they can't agree, and this is where I think it's going to be stalled. If they can't agree on how to pay for it, that's when budget reconciliation is going to have to be the option. And at that point, we might see Democrats just put one large bill together. And so we'll have the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan all together and get that approved by both the House and the Senate and signed off by the president. So that's where we are right now when it comes to this infrastructure bill. Let me know down below what you guys think about this. All right. So these are the stories I love to do. We're talking about an Australian man. This 111-year-old Australian man's longevity secret is clucking strange. And so that is the headline there. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I just think it's a great story. So he is the oldest Australian. So he broke the record. Here's the gentleman here, 111 years old. Could you imagine? Now, this is on record, the oldest. Now, the interesting part is what he credits to his longevity, his life, living 111 years. He credits chicken brains. So he eats chicken brains, and that is the reason why he's been able to live for 111 years. So those of you who are out there that want to live longer, chicken brains sounds like it's the way to go. And he's quoted here, chicken brains. Chickens have a head, and in there's a brain, and they're delicious little things. There's only one little bite. And so this gentleman here has lived to 111 years old, and I just think that's a great story. And hopefully he will live many more years eating chicken brains. But that is the key, chicken brains. You need to check that out. I've never had any type of brain, but chicken brains. That's probably be the I've never even seen how small a chicken's brain is, but I don't know. Very, very interesting. If you have eaten chicken brains, let us know down below. Let me know what you think about this whole story. I just think it's great. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you guys have any questions, post them down below. Let me know what you guys think about this infrastructure bill. And please let me know what you think about the amazing story of the day. Talk to you guys later. Bye.